I recently had a leak at my property, and in connection with that water leak, I've prepared 5 points for you here tonight. And because they impact financially many of our residents, I hope you all can look past the messenger here tonight and look at the message. All right, I had a water leak. It started 1 month and 9,000 gallons. I didn't pick up on it. But the next month when I got my bill, it was 55,000 gallons. And that grabbed my attention like nobody's business. But the first point I want to make here is that at no point did the city ever contact me. So my average usage in the 11 months prior to June of 15, and these are not my numbers, these are the city numbers, and they're there in Exhibit A, my average is 545 gallons a month. So even with 110 times usage, that didn't set off any alarm bells at the city, no one ever gave me a call. It was when I got my next month's bill that I realized something was wrong. And while that cost me $400 odd, and I'm blessed to be able to pay it, many of our residents are not able to pay it. And we spoke about a lady here last month with a $3,000 bill that has absolutely no ability to pay it. And if she did, we'd be taking her last $50 a month, likely to the end of her life, pay the city as opposed to other uses. So, Mayor, the first point I want to make, and I made it last week, completing a fully integrated tower read, real-time water usage with a callback provision to residents when their usage goes up a certain amount in a day should be at the top of your priority list. If it's not, I'm disappointed, because this is impacting people that can't afford these kinds of losses. Well, in connection with the loss, it was discovered that I had a 2-inch meter in the ground, and I decided I would have a 3/4-inch meter. I was told twice by staff I couldn't have a 3/4-inch meter. I was commercial, and I had to have bigger than a 3/4-inch. It was only when I said put it in writing that they relented and said, sure, you want to have a 3/4-inch meter, you can have one. They then charged me $605 to change out that meter from 2-inch to 3/4-inch. And I'm not going to stand here tonight and criticize the staff that came out and did their job. But I want to tell you, based on what I observed, how it is we schedule manpower needs to be examined in a big way. And that's all I want to say. I think you probably gather what I'm saying. And then, Mayor, back to staff opinions. That's what got me here in front of this podium in 2002, trying to build a warehouse in this town, and up against staff opinions masquerading as code requirements. And it could easily be construed that these opinions are revenue-driven, and they shouldn't be. There are some decisions that should just be left to the property owner, and the city just needs to mind its own business on those issues. And the size of a water meter would certainly be one of them, I would think, Mayor. Well, in the course of this I came to realize that my monthly statements did not add up in many instances. And if you look at Exhibit 3, I've got 2 statements attached where the opening balance, the charges, the payments don't equal the ending balance. If you look at the November balance, prior charges $18, payments $290, new charges $136, and the balance owing $566. Now that's can't be had mathematically. But what you find when you get to the city is that there are all kinds of charges going on in the background that don't make it to a statement, So likely hundreds of our residents every single month can't make sense of their statement without they call into the city or come into the city. Now that would seem to me to be a waste of everybody's time. The homeowner and staff here at the city. Staff is aware that their bills don't add up in many instances. They're aware of it. I don't know what's being done, but I want to tell you, Mayor, I am tired of it. Years after we find out, no one noticed when the tow truck operator stopped bringing in his check. Years after we found out we weren't depositing the billboard checks. Years after we find out that, bank statements aren't being balanced here in the city. We find out that Utility bills don't even balance from the opening balance to the ending balance. So I would hope that that you would take that as a very serious matter and instruct staff that you want this done ASAP. I mean, before Christmas, these bills can be changed to reflect the other charges that are going through in the background. Mayor, the fourth point, and I've only got 5, so I'm just about done. The reason why we celebrate the 4th of July has likely been lost over the years. But the underlying reason was no taxation without representation. And again, that's what I found out what was going on here as well, in that the manager and staff took it on themselves to start back-charging customers for city errors. Errors the city create, you're now going to back-charge customers. Well, the principle laid down in this country is not one thin dime comes out of a citizen's pocket until a body, an elected body, passes an ordinance, a resolution, or a statute, and that wasn't done in this instance. You all have never passed a resolution authorizing back charges, particularly back charges for staff errors. Yet that is what we're up against here tonight. Now, IFOI-8 at that point, it was alleged that I'm not the only person that's caught in this sticky wicket, and there were other people. I asked to get a list of those other people and was told it could not be provided. Certainly could not be provided easily. But Mayor, that has to happen starting tomorrow morning. You need to reverse out this policy here tonight. You need to instruct the manager to start issuing refunds for these charges, if indeed these charges took place, and that hasn't been established because again they weren't able to provide me with a list in any event. Now, back on October the 6th, on consent agenda, there was a pretty infamous item that got passed unanimously without discussion. And basically what you were asked to do, and you did do, was sanction what staff had been doing vis-a-vis these back charges on staff errors. I don't know if you guys read that. I don't know if you guys realize that. Do you really want to penalize residents for staff errors? I don't know if you do. It passed unanimously. And Mayor, I think I've said it in emails. I think what's going on here is it's been a practice of some length that that council is invited to come in and sanction a whole bunch of stuff that's being done here in the city that really you shouldn't be asked to sanction. There's meant to be a proper division up there between the dais on policy and the manager on administration. So why repeatedly are you guys being pulled into this mix? And I think it is absolutely horrible that you're doing it. The utility department reorganization has all kinds of implications. And I challenged you from this the night it was passed. You know, how much appreciation and understanding do you guys have on that? I would suggest not much. Let's assume this resolution that got passed inadvertently. That's not your desire. Well, tonight's agenda is over 4,000 pages long. You got it Thursday afternoon, 4,000 pages. There's no way any of you reviewed those 4,000 pages, but yet you're asked to vote on this agenda tonight. It's rendering your vote meaningless, is what's going on here, the way this is progressing, Mayor, as I see it. And finally, in that infamous resolution, the solution that was given was that the city attorney recommends that the policy approved by council be formalized by the adoption of a resolution. Can't do it, Mayor. You can't do it. There's a prohibition in the Constitution that says no ex post facto laws can be passed in this country. Just can't be done. You can make a law going forward, but you can't make a law for what happened yesterday and penalize people. But yet that is what was you were encouraged to do. That indeed is what you signified would happen with that passage. So I'm pretty shocked that that's where we find ourselves at this point. It's also, and this will be my last point, and this was given to me late in the day, and I didn't have a chance to copy it up, Mayor. But it was alleged in this resolution that this had been discussed with all the adjoining towns, and all the adjoining towns are indeed penalizing their people. If you look at an email dated March 3rd, 15, it says, I called the city of Daytona Beach, South Daytona, Holly Hill, Ormond, and Daytona Beach Shores. All said if their customer had a legitimate leak and can provide receipts of a repair, they typically go back a year. Now, that's it. That's all we got to go on. But does that sound like we go back a year and penalize people? Or does that sound like we go back a year and give someone a refund? Because if it's penalized, why would we care if they got the leak repaired or if they had a legitimate leak and can provide the copies of repairs? So, Mayor, we may have a major interpretation here in what was suggested in the agenda item that you all passed. So like I said, I'm going to bring closure. Mayor, this is not just affecting me. This is affecting the citizenry that you all were elected to represent. And I hope these points are addressed here tonight in favor of the citizens that are meant to be served here by you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate the time, Mayor.
Yep. Next is utility